Welcome back, beautiful people, to our Toad podcast. I'm here today with my main co-host, Luis Calderon, and my secondary co-host, Jesus Torres.
What's up, dude?
Luis, take it away.
So we are back for our fourth episode of the Toad podcast. Thank you to us. We appreciate you. We will start off from right off the bat with our Reddit segment that I like to introduce. So the first topic we'll be talking about is our mayor race that will be in opening votes start in 2 weeks, but you can already sign up if you want to vote by online, by mail. I hope you know where to vote.
I don't know, closest voting location? Usually
Whatever.
like a local public library or something.
Yeah, whatever. The story that we will be speaking first about comes from the subreddit Chicago. The website interactive.wbz had 20 questions with both mayors, and we will run down the short answers that they have for the question. So the first question was, Chicago aldermen enjoy unwritten unilateral power to influence zoning and developmental decisions in their wards. Will you work to end this so-called aldermanic prerogative in favor of a holistic approach to citywide development? Lori Lightfoot said yes. Tony Preckwinkle said no. The next question was, tax hikes are often discussed as a solution to Chicago's underfunded pension crisis. Will you explore cutting benefits for current and or future workers and retirees in order to lower the city's pension obligations? Lori Lightfoot, a straight answer, and Tony Preckwinkle again said no. The next one was, will you support a binding community benefits agreement for the Obama Presidential Center? Lori Lightfoot did not give a straight answer. Tony Preckwinkle said yes. The fourth topic was, so-called sweepstake machines function like legal video gambling, but are unregulated. Will you support a ban on sweepstakes machines in Chicago? Lori Lightfoot said yes. Tony Preckwinkle said no. The next topic, will you support a tax on financial transactions conducted by asset exchanges in Chicago, such as the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and the CBOE? Neither gave a straight answer. The next topic was, will you work to raise fees on ride shares like Uber and Lyft to fund CTA improvements? Both of the candidates said yes. Chicagoans are not currently allowed to make anonymous complaints against officers. Will you work to change that policy? Again, both candidates said yes. The next topic was, will you work to hire more police detectives to reduce violence and increase Chicago's low homicide clearance rate? Again, both candidates said yes. The next topic, will you work to hire social workers to respond to police calls involving mental health episodes? Again, both candidates said yes. The next topic was, will you lobby state legislators to allow a city-run casino in Chicago? Both candidates said yes. The following topic was, will you support the creation of an income-based city tax either on Chicagoans or commuters? This time, both candidates agreed and said no. The next topic, Chicago's vehicle ticketing and enforcement system disproportionately affects people of color. Will you make changes to the system even if it means less revenue for the city? Both candidates agreed and said yes. The next topic, Chicago's mayor has the ability to make dozens of appointments to influential public boards and commissions. Do you commit to making appointments that mirror Chicago's diverse demographics? As expected, both candidates said yes. The mayor currently appoints Chicago Public School CEO and each member of the school board. Will you lobby state legislators to pass a law allowing Chicago voters to instead elect school board members? Both candidates said yes. The next topic said, will you support eliminating the single-family home zoning designation, which disallows multi-unit homes in parts of the city as a way to reduce housing segregation? Both candidates said yes. The next topic, will you force developers of new projects to build affordable housing units in gentrifying communities where longtime residents are being displaced? They both said yes. The next topic, will you commit to building public housing replacement units and affordable units on vacant CHA land where demolished high-rises once stood? They both said yes. Will you expand the number of CHA housing vouchers that allow renters to find home in neighborhoods that aren't racially and economically segregated? They both said yes. Second to last topic said, Chicago has more lead service lines than any big city in the U.S. Will you use city money to help residents replace lead pipes that carry water to their homes? They both said yes. And the last one was more of a fun kind of thing. If you could exercise executive power in one of the following fictional worlds, Pawnee, Indiana in Parks and Rec, Wakanda in Black Panther, a Washington, D.C. in Scandal, or a galaxy far, far away in Star Wars, or even another place not named, which would you choose and why? Lori Lightfoot said Wakanda from Black Panther. Tori Preckwinkle said Valdemar. All right. So these are the topics that this an article in the WBEZ 91.5 radio station had for these two candidates. You can find in the article more expanded responses of each topic, and especially in ones where they didn't give a straight yes or no answer. Based off of these issues, what do you think about these two candidates as a whole?
I really haven't kept up with the mayor race. I mean, I really don't keep up with this type of stuff. I usually never vote either, and I haven't voted this year. I probably won't vote either
For
this
the
year
runoff?
again. Yep. I just feel like it's the same old Chicago politics.
Mm-hmm.
They say yes to what they're supposed to say yes to, and I was actually surprised that at some of them they had no comment, or I don't know. I just feel like it's typical Chicago politics. You know, they both want to win, so they're gonna say yes to what they're supposed to say yes to, and say no comment to what they know how they want to answer, but they know they can't.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those where I don't know. It's Chicago. It's still home. I probably stay here forever. I probably won't ever leave. It's just one of those where the Chicago people are left to fend for themselves again. They were promised a million things and they probably won't be delivered on again.
As is politics.
As is politics, especially, but more politics in Chicago.
Yeah.
Because it is what it is. That's just my take on it. I really don't pay attention to it. I can't say that I don't care because it is home, and at times I do care.
Yeah.
But there's not much we can do. So that's just my take on it.
So essentially, this does nothing for you because you're not gonna vote anyway.
Yeah, it does not. Yeah, one, it does nothing for me because I'm not gonna vote. And two, I don't think even if I were to vote, I wouldn't get too hopeful. Just because
someone said yes to something you want, basically, because you've been let down too many times already anyway.
I wouldn't say let down because I've never actually believed it or expected, but a lot of Chicagoans have been let down, and it happens continuously every election. So I'm just gonna take what I've seen and what I know against what we're promised. So actions speak louder than words.
Luis, what about you?
There's good topics. I'm not gonna lie. It would be dumb not to say. There's more to it than just them arguing this topic. They had a debate recently on live television that most people probably didn't watch, including some of us. I was telling Jesus about it the other day, this morning, and he's like, they had a debate.
Yeah, I didn't even know. So
but it's kind of expected because he said it himself. He's not gonna vote. He's not really following. He'll find out who's the mayor the day of the runoff and the results on TV. Probably the next day even. I also enjoy the last question. It's supposed to be more fun. I would rather them, I don't know, whoever ends up being mayor, it's going to be great because we're breaking barriers, but at the end of the day, it's a big city. So no, you're not going to appease everyone. I'm more worried about people not being focused on the mayor race, especially now that we're down to 2 candidates, so you don't have to do extensive research as opposed to having, what was it, like 10 or so?
Yeah.
The first time. I'm more worried that people aren't focused on it. I'm not too worried that they're answering good questions and good topics and giving out their issues. I'm more worried about the audience behind the people or the audience that will dictate who of these two ends up being the mayor of Chicago. Because I don't want to hear people saying that this person did something a couple months after they took office and then complain about it. But then when you ask them, what did you vote or did you get into either of these two candidates, of what they stood for or what they were thinking of, and then saying, no, I didn't. Just don't complain. You should have gone into it. So that's more my issue. The article's fine. What about you, Renee?
So when it comes to politics, I don't pay too much attention to what they're doing in the current race. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean I don't pay attention at all. I like to look back a little further to what these politicians, what their point of views were before they were in the spotlight, because
when no one knew about them except
when no one knew about them, because it helps you get a better sense of who they really are. Because like you both sort of alluded to, a lot of the times politicians, when they're in the heat of the race, they'll say the right things to try and appease the most people, but they don't always follow up and keep those promises. So I can be promising everybody right now, free healthcare for everybody. Which
wasn't even mentioned, by the way.
Which wasn't even mentioned, but I can promise everybody free healthcare just to help me get the position. And then I won't do it once I'm president or whatever I'm running for. That's because the spotlight sort of made me do that. When it comes to politicians, I haven't done much research into them yet. When I do my research, because I would like to vote, I would like to go out and vote because I think it's something super important.
Yeah, to each their own. We're not condemning Jesus for not voting. That's his decision. He has the right.
We agree to disagree.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm definitely not going to focus. Views can change, so I'm going to try and keep a balance between what they're saying now and what their views were. Mm-hmm. Because I'm not going to strictly focus on what they said 10 years ago either, because those views might be outdated. But I do think you can't just focus on one or the other. You have to look at both to get a complete picture.
I don't know. I feel like this is a good opportunity to enact some change finally in Chicago. And I hope people really, even though I'm not going to do it, I hope people who are interested in, like involved. You said, actually do the research. Because I feel like this type of election, it was one of those where like there were so many candidates. Once Rahm Emanuel said, I'm not running anymore, that opened the floodgates to everyone, who thought they had a chance to put their hat in the ring. and it kind of everyone had their horse in the race, and then now there's only two. You know, so it's one of those where I hope it doesn't end up where like people are just, they don't feel like, well, my horse isn't in the race anymore, so I just went and chose whoever I thought. Hopefully people actually do their research and choose the person who best might fit their like needs or their ideas, you know, or who they can relate to the most.
So my closing comment before we move on to the top comment on the post would be that same issue is what worries me about the Democratic nominee for whoever, whether it be Trump or if someone attempts and actually dethrones Trump on the Republican side in by next year, is that there's already so many people going up for the Democratic nominee because they all want a piece of what we're struggling with as a Democratic side against the Republican side, and knowing that it might be Trump who they have to face off, everyone wants a piece of that if you're a Democratic candidate. So I feel like the people we have in the race, and Joe Biden, who is most likely gonna run but hasn't officially done it, has put it out there yet, and maybe one or two that haven't done it either that will likely do it. That's my worry, that the voting input or output that we got from this mayor thing when it was at 10, 11 people will come Democratic nominee time, where no one wants to vote because there's so many people and there's just an abundance of research that they have to do. That's enough for that topic. The top comment, well, there's only two comments, so for the first time we're going to read both. The first comment is just an emoji giving a kissy face with water underneath. So it's floating underwater. It's on top of water and it's like kissing. It's a kissy face. I don't know what the fuck that means. And the second one is from user Backage, who says, that was weird. I didn't like how they gave Lightfoot an ambitious answer twice, but when you click to expand, her answers were unambiguous. Also, how the fuck does Prankwinkle not know Wakanda or Star Wars? Honestly, it's not that easy to find the real difference between these two. I like Lightfoot's answers better, but I don't think they never really ever disagreed. I guess the choices between who could actually do the right things, but they both want to do better, which seems to be Prankwinkle's entire campaign. But honestly, it seems like Lightfoot is the one who could. So kind of summed up what we've talked about, but at the same time, he or she got to the same point that they both are going to say things, but it depends who you think it fits better to the Chicago you want, and also they both are going to say things that they're not going to be able to do.
It comes down to who's actually going to make it happen.
So the next subreddit that we will be focusing on will be the technology subreddit, where our next article comes from. TheHill.com ran a poll on net neutrality, and they came out with the results that 4 in 5 Americans say they support it. My question to you guys isn't about the article, it isn't about the poll, but it is about, do you guys feel like this issue about net neutrality is talked about enough by the common people, who will end up affecting the most, being talked about in your circles of friends outside of school?
I don't think it's talked about enough, especially not by the people who it ultimately will affect. I don't know, I just feel like, I mean, nowadays everything is like, if you can make money out of it, I mean, you got to find a way to make the money. So, you know, the internet has been a luxury that for many, I mean, since it was created, we've all pretty much had access to, as long as you have like an internet provider or whatever, you pay your monthly bill and you do what you want to do on the internet. I mean, now it's like, it seems like very few people are controlling everything, and the more control these companies have, the more power they get, so the more money they can generate. So I mean, if they can tax anything or charge you to provide you a service, they're gonna do it. It comes down to like, are the people gonna fall for it and try to do something about it, or are they just gonna give in and just pay for whatever? Seems like nowadays we pay for everything. So
So before we get into Renee's comment on whether it's the story or the question I proposed or Jesus' comment, I think one thing that people should know, if this is the first time, that would be the problem, if this is your first time hearing of net neutrality. But the most important thing to know is that in the government, I think we are looking at having no net neutrality, and it is becoming a harder fight to make government decide that we should keep net neutrality. But as of now, we would lean towards having no net neutrality. So I want to put that out there for those that are just hearing about this for the first time. Renee, what do you feel about this?
Before I start, I don't think either of you define what net neutrality is, in case anybody out there doesn't know what it is. Net neutrality is basically, it lets you do as you please on the internet. Without it, your internet provider, whoever that may be, can push certain websites on you and charge for those websites, and it'll favor them. It
essentially has control over you.
Yeah, they essentially favor the big companies over the smaller ones. That's what net neutrality is.
And here's an example of how it looked like. Here's a little snippet or a little visual that Vox provides, where it says this could be the internet without net neutrality, and they have different packs which would be the packages of what you can use. So they have pack 1, $5 a month. You have access to only Facebook, Twitter, and WhatsApp. Pack 2, $10 a month. Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, Netflix. Pack 3 is $15 a month. You get a couple more access. You get a couple more things you have access to. Fourth pack is $20 a month. You get even more, a couple more more access to. Pack 5, $30 a month. You get several more. And then the last one would be unlimited. You get access to everything, but you would be paying $100 a month, which, as Jesus' reaction says off the audio podcast, is ridiculous. This is what happens with what Renee just beautifully described as net neutrality. This is what we are looking at if we don't do anything about it. But Renee, what are your comments?
I mean, I can't say this whole thing to get rid of net neutrality, very unethical, but to be honest, I really can't say I'm surprised. The way that everybody tries to capitalize on potential markets and ways to keep the richer and the poor, you know. I disagree with how the government and everything is handling the situation and how they're leaning towards getting rid of it, but I think that's only really our fault, the people's fault, because a lot of the time we disagree with these political actions, but we don't go out and do anything about it. You know, we sit back and we complain, but we're not proactive enough to do something and fight for that change. While I think it is very unethical, I sadly don't see. I'd say I probably see it happening the way the social and political landscape is right now. I think that maybe it might get delayed as few people fight for it, but in the long term, I think we will eventually see the end of net neutrality.
So the top comment of this article comes from the user blue_flea, and that user says, "What's on her forehead?" which is in reference to the picture when you click on the article from thehill.com, and it is Nancy Pelosi, our Speaker of the House, with an Ash Wednesday mark. That is the best comment according to the 50 comments found on this article on the subreddit of technology. So, I mean, one thing, that's a genuine question, I get it, but if that's the best comment, what are we really doing here?
Shows how much people can.
Third and last story for our Reddit segment is the, as of now, pretty widely known scandal of the rich parents who had paid or found ways to illegally put their kids into different colleges of high prestige. Obviously, two of the biggest moms and celebs that were found guilty of doing this was Aunt Becky from Full House, William H. Macy, Frank from Shameless. His wife was also the other high influential
perpetrator.
Yeah, we are going to subreddit r/news. Ironically enough, it's a FoxNews.com article, and their headline is Lori Laughlin's daughter Olivia Jade reportedly didn't fill out her own application. So not only did these parents put their kids, specifically in this family's, pretended to be rowers and took pictures of them in an athletic kind of picture where they were supposedly wearing something and as pictured as being athletes. The poor girl, well, not poor because she was part of it, this YouTube star, as we want to call her, did not know how to fill out a college application. They had to pay someone to do it. So not only did they pay for her admittance into USC, not only did this young woman say she hated school and didn't fuck with it or anything, she also, not only did this girl say through different mediums that she did not care for school, not only was she and her sister put into the school with no merit whatsoever, but this young YouTube star did not know how to fill out a college application. It's just, you keep nodding your head in disbelief.
I mean, I don't know. That's like just the beginning right there of everything. Like, she doesn't know how to fill out her own college application. It's like,
no surprise she had to be paid into getting into the school.
Yeah, you know, like I was telling you earlier, I saw, because I really didn't know what was going on with this. So my brother mentioned it to me, so I started like looking into it, and like everything, I go straight to YouTube. And
last time you said you go to, what did you say, Google?
And then Google or YouTube, and then I found a Trevor Noah video on it, and where he kind of explains the whole situation, like, you know, and it's like in a funny way.
Yeah.
He pretty much said, at that point, like, if you're paying that type of money to get your kid into college, why not just get a smarter kid? You know?
Which is true. I mean, that's a good point.
And genetically modify them.
Yep.
And he makes another good point where he's like, if I'm these kids, like, a lot of them didn't know that this was going on, but like now it's like, I feel like a total moron. Because like, if you're one of those kids that like this comes to light and, you know, you genuinely thought you were smart, which, I mean, if you really thought, like, come on. But I mean, that's another thing. But I mean, yeah, if you're one of the kids and you thought you were smart and you deserve to be at these schools, and then it turns out like you're a fucking moron. Well, you know, it's kind of like, well, fuck. I mean, now your parents are making you one, now your parents are probably, they're not going to go to jail because they're too rich.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, now you're just an embarrassment. Because...
She's not going to jail, dude. She went off, what's it called?
Paid her fine. Bail?
Yeah, she went off bail. It was $1 million.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here,
like,
dude.
you know, now it's just an embarrassment.
I stay in jail easily.
It's just an embarrassment for you because it's like, one, it's an embarrassment for the family, and then two, for you, because now people know you're a moron. You're just there because your parents pay for you to be there. I don't understand if, like, the kid worked and, you know, it was their own. If, like, let's say she did it with her own YouTube money, right? She did all that on her own. Well, I understand, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. Mm-hmm. But when it's your parents, it's kind of like, damn, like.
And then you do nothing to merit that, even like, oh, well, she was smart, so this, like, even make it a little less enraging. Yeah. But she fucking couldn't fill out an application. Are you fucking kidding me?
There's a video on Instagram where I think
$1 million.
It's both the mom and the daughter, and the daughter says something about how England is a city, something like that, and like.
It's not.
England's a country, so like, you know, like, even that, like, it makes me dumb.
You're so charismatic that he was like,
yeah, like,
he had to think about it.
I thought about that twice because it's like,
but he got it right.
You know, it's one of those where it just shows you, like, I mean, did these parents really have a choice? Probably not.
Did this parent even know that? How high of a hope did this parent have for their daughter? I mean, but Renee, quickly, what do you?
This is America in a nutshell, you know. Whenever you run into a problem, if you're rich enough, just pay your way out of it.
Exactly.
Quickly, there's a whole comment dialogue that goes in this article. It starts off by a user saying, "Of course you didn't. Isn't that what they paid for?" Someone replies, "Really, this should not surprise anyone." The following comment says, "As a non-American, I really don't get the outrage. This is a country where money gets you everywhere, so why is this any different?" And we will leave you with the rest. You can find this article on the subreddit R News, and it should be there. And now we will be moving on, segueing into our beautiful and creative segment of Renee's Twitter. Renee, take us away.
First off, I'd like to say I don't actually have a Twitter. So, second off,
that's a joke.
That's the joke.
You killed it. Thanks.
That's what I did. So I'd like to jump right in with this Florida man hashtag that's trending on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, you kind of explained it to me a little bit. What's this Florida man hashtag going around?
Well, I don't know what it is. I just know that people search something with Florida in it. You're supposed to get like a story or something, or everyone gets a different. I don't know what it is.
So essentially, quick summary I think of what it is that there's so many shit that happens in Florida, which you can go back to episode 1 where Jesus makes that same comment. He made the joke that Florida's fucked up and shit, and essentially Florida man is like, there's so many shit that goes on there that you know, Florida man is to represent all the fucked up shit that people do, whether female or male, whatever, from Florida. And that's the whole joke, I think, that you can search up Florida man and multiple stories will come out of someone doing some fucked up shit.
Yeah, so, but you nailed it. You hit the nail right on the head. So what you're supposed to do is you look up Florida man and then your birthday, and some weird article is going to come up. So, for example, I just did mine.
I was doing mine as we speak.
Florida man 71 accused of repeatedly exposing himself at eateries, plays on house arrest.
Mine's Florida man gets second victory at the Supreme Court. So, I mean, at least mine wasn't that bad. But yeah. it was a political. And then the other one is Florida man chugs beer during DUI stop. I like that one better, so I'll go with that one. But that's essentially what Renee was talking about. That's becoming a hashtag and trending thing on Twitter. So, Renee, continue.
So, our second hashtag trending is Queer Eye Show. For those who don't know, the Queer Eye is...
It's just Queer Eye.
Queer Eye for those avid fans of it.
I've never seen an episode.
For those avid fans.
Don't piss anyone off.
Exactly. Forgive our ignorance. But it's these style experts who go around New York, or pardon me, not New York. That was the old version. This new version, they go around Atlanta, basically giving people makeovers and developing these relationships with them. My question to you is, given the chance, would you get a style makeover? Would you let one of these stylists come to you?
100% yes. Why not? I mean,
do it. I always believe that for the most part, free stuff is good stuff. Mm-hmm. So shit, if it's free, and it's free, and they're gonna do a good job.
Yeah, if they want me as a guinea pig, yeah, why not?
I mean, why not? I'm gonna look better, so shit.
Renee, would you do it?
I consider it.
That's a better answer.
Definitely consider it.
All right, and what's our last topic?
Which is a yes.
And yeah, that's probably a yes. The last part of the segment is this question that comes from a user on Twitter by the name of Shira Lazar. Her that was retweeted and went trending was, can people with different political views make a relationship work? Has it affected yours?
Jesus?
I think it can definitely work. It hasn't affected mine. But, I mean, at the end of the day, like I said before, like when it comes to politics and all that shit, I really don't care. But, I mean, if I were to care, I mean, no, at the end of the day, you know, you got differences aside, you know, relationship. I'm pretty sure you guys can both find common ground and, you know, live happily together. So,
and the best advice we can give, without being advice experts, would be if it really becomes an issue and you guys are both on one side and the other of the
political spectrum.
Yeah, if you guys are both on the opposite side of the political spectrum, then that's not really healthy, and you guys probably shouldn't be together at the end of the day. So you either can work it out and find common ground, or don't be together at all.
I think love conquers all.
All right. Well, that's a nice way to wrap up.
That's a nice way to say it. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice way to wrap up Renee's Twitter segment. Thank you, Renee, for your lovely...
Anytime.
So those are our 2 segments for today. We will end off, as usual, with a little positive note. But before that, we'd like to say thank you to all our listeners, our little fan base that we're quietly and quickly increasing. Thank you for sharing and for liking our content. We enjoy producing and making this. So thank you to everyone who's listening and sharing. But this meme comes from the subreddit Black People Twitter. And the user is Chandler_is_a_girl. And the title of the post says, "We all know a nosy uncle." And it is a screenshot of a Twitter account that goes by the name of @FreeYourMindKid. And the user says, "I'm not Muslim, so I guess I can't really share mundane things about mosques. But I remember when I went to the local mosque because it was a Pokemon Go stop, and an elderly Pakistani man lectured me about not being married at 29 and told me to grow my beard out. He then goes on to say, like, I just want to play with my Pokemon, sir." And that is our ending outro joke.
I also want to give a shout out to Luis because, I mean, he's the one running the show. He's doing all the editing and all the social media stuff. And
he's the big man.
I'm kind of just
there.
I'm just kind of here to, like, you know, speak, which I don't mind doing.
I don't mind doing all the work.
I know this is like his baby, so this is pretty cool. Shout out to Renee and Luis, especially Luis, because he's the one doing everything, doing all the work.
Thank you. So we'll have a upload schedule soon. We're trying to fit our schedules especially as graduation approaches, and we have to do some stuff. So
yeah, because once we graduate, y'all probably won't fucking hear from me ever again. So
end of the talk podcast.
So you'll hear a couple episodes with rotating guests. There's going to be episodes where Jesus or I won't be here at the same time, or one of us won't be here. So Renee will be the base.
Renee will be that one constant within this whole thing.
And as most as it is my creation and my work, Renee will be the constant. We thank you again for listening, and we will see you on the next time. Thank you, Renee, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Jesus.
Anytime.
All right, we'll see you next week.
Stay woke.